Okay, well, welcome to the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio. We appreciate you being here. It is again always fun to be here. Always fun to. This is our second regular show, specifically for iHeartRadio. We have not done we've only done one other show that's specifically for iHeartRadio. I think that we RSS'd or we copied one from Blog Talk Radio. Where we are on every day. We're not yet set up to be here on iHeartRadio every day, but we certainly want to make sure that you know that the Willie Lawson Show is ready to be a force on iHeartRadio. We want to be the fastest growing radio show, talk radio show here on iHeartRadio. We want to be the citizen journalist. We want to be the person that turns an avocation into an occupation. We want to be the ones to be the different ones, the ones that make the difference, the ones that the show that gets past a lot of the shows that just stay in the amateur mode. We want to move forward. We want to make a difference, and in this show is our ideal in this show is not just for me or our guest, and we will have guests as the show matures. To be the centerpiece. We want you to be the centerpiece. We want our listeners to be the centerpiece. It has always been our hope that that our listeners would be the centerpieces of what we're doing here. It's not, when I said it's not what I do, it's about what you do. It's not about my activism, it's about your activism. It's about what you do. It's about how you make a difference, how you interface with your community to make a difference. Today is a day we're going to talk about two things that I can come up with right now. One of them is the torture report that was released on Monday, early this week, as a distraction from the $1.1 trillion omnibus bill that was that was being dealt up from the Republican base. $1.1 trillion. It chokes me up. It's almost impossible to say out loud. $1.1 trillion spending bill that ends any discussion of any number of things from now until next September, if indeed this bill gets passed by the Senate and gets signed into law by the president, which it looks like it's going to be. $1.1 trillion. So there won't be any discussion of government shutdowns or the like until possibly September of 2015. We'll be well into the silly season of campaign season by then, and what we can expect then is another similar omnibus bill, ominous, I guess is a better word, ominous bill being passed by then a Republican-controlled legislature. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be different once it becomes a Republican-controlled legislature. We have to remember a lot of conservatives in particular seem to have forgotten that nothing has changed in the legislature, in the national legislature, since July. Nothing has changed. Harry Reid is still the majority leader the majority leader in the Senate. He still is. The Democrats still hold the majority in the Senate. Nothing has changed since July. So I'm not sure. I'm really not sure that why you expected anything to be different. That's the thing that gets me. Why did you expect anything to be different? Why did you expect that John Boehner would suddenly stand up, on his desk, slam his shoe to the ground, and tell the president hell no on Obamacare, hell no on his immigration executive action? What made you think that would happen? See, that's the thing that makes me that blows me away with some of you conservatives. What made you think that would happen? What gave you the thought that would happen? I'm blown away. What changed between July or the last time we had one of these bills and yesterday? What changed legislatively? Now, I know that you voted in a lot of Republicans a few weeks ago, but none of those people have taken office. None of those people have been sworn in. They won't be sworn in until January. They're not there. They're not there in the Senate to help this bill go through or be shut down. They're not there. There weren't many gains in and there weren't many gains in the House. The House pretty much stayed pat, but it was going to. So I'm really curious as to what you thought was going to be a lot different. That blows me away that you thought that something was going to be different. It just blows me away. Blows me the heck away. But it's not going to be different. So it looks like if this bill passes the Senate, which it looks like it will, the White House has control over their caucus and will allow this bill to be voted on in the Senate. And even if not near Republican votes for it, it will pass and end up on the president's desk. Probably in a week or so, he will sign it, and that will be that. That will be that. And that's the story on the continuing resolution. And you're going to have to find something else. We're going to have to find together something else to be concerned with. We're going to have to find something else to be concerned with. Now, my suggestion is that what we focus on is how do we make sure that there are conservatives elected not only at the national level, not only the federal level, but in 2015, there's going to be a lot of city council, county commission, mayoral, state senate, state house races. That's where you need conservatives. That's where you need to be right now. That needs, just like in the movie Fletch, where Will Smith says, "This is where you live, right here, right here." As when you're showing a dude how to dance, this is where you live, right here. And where we need to live as conservatives, and especially those of us who consider ourselves Tea Party conservatives, is local. Can we indeed take over our city councils? Like here where I live in Tampa, all of the city council and the mayor are Democrats. Can we not make an advance there? Can we not train some candidates up and support them in city council races, which in this area are nonpartisan, quote, end quote. Can we make some adjustments there? There are conservative Republicans running for city council races here in the city of Tampa. Can we make advances there? Because that's something that will make the difference. There are going to be state house races and state senate races available throughout the state. Can we start making advances there? Can we go into places that we have not gone into before and make gains? That's where we live. That's where we need to be. You know what? Because there is a reality about the federal government until January, and through the silly season of campaigning, that's just real. There isn't going to be much movement. There isn't going to be much movement forward or backwards, but definitely not much movement forwards. That's just the reality of our situation. What the best that we can hope for is to hold serve. That's the best we can hope for there. However, the places that we can make advances, that's where we live. That's where we need to focus, right there. Right there in your city hall, in your county centers. That's where you need to make advances. And that's where we live, right there. And if you can do that over this season, that is going to plant the seed for the next time. And the next cycle, and the next cycle. We need to start planting these conservative seeds in places where they might not have grown before. There is opportunity. There is opportunity. Not everybody is experiencing great economic growth. Some people are still suffering and still looking for solutions, and people who are ready to offer solutions to their struggling. They're still looking. They've given the Democrats, especially at the national level, 6+ years. And in some areas have not seen any positive change. So it's time, is it not? It's truly time. There's truly opportunity. People are listening. People who might not have listened before are saying to conservatives, all right, what do you got to say? What do you have to offer? And we have to be able to say something other than what we've said before. In a way that we've said it, that we've not said it before. Put things in a way that they are that people, in the urban community especially, can identify. We have to make things so people can, it isn't pandering when you make your points and they are relevant to people's situation. We talk about this all the time, especially those of us who work in the urban community. We talk about, you can talk about lowering taxes all you want, but you may be talking to a room full of people who have never paid an income tax because when they file, because of the system, they always get money back. What are you telling them about lower taxes about? What are you talking to them about? You're talking to people who either rent or live in public housing about property taxes. What the hell do they care about property taxes? It's something that they've never paid. They don't understand. It doesn't do them any good. And in your fervor to educate them, I underline that word and circle it. You're not really educating them about anything that is relevant to them. How is the message of conservatism? And we're going to talk about this on future shows here on iHeartRadio. How is the message of conservatism relevant to somebody who is living in public housing? How is that relevant? How can you make the message of conservatism relevant and palatable to somebody who is living in public housing, whose children attend daycare at the public housing place, where they don't have to pay anything for their child care? How are you making the case for conservatism with that audience? Because if you can make the case for conservatism for that audience, then you can make gains. If you cannot, you will not. All right, we can take a little break. We'll be back with more of the Willie Lawson Show here on iHeartRadio. Right?
Okay, class, let's all sing our 911 song. There's a fire, there's a fire.
Dial 911.
There's a fire, there's a fire.
Dial 911.
If you can't raise an arm,
dial 911.
If you're suddenly having trouble speaking these words,
dial 911.
Face suddenly goes all numb,
dial 911.
All of a sudden get the worst headache of your life,
dial 911.
Sudden loss of sight in one or both eyes,
dial 911.
If you think stroke may be the cause, never wait to call,
dial 911.
911. Making a difference in someone's life is elementary. Know the sudden signs of stroke and dial 911 immediately if they appear. Time lost is brain lost. For more information, visit powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We rope it up,
'cause we know how to jump.
we roll it out,
'Cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
'Cause we know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Yeah, well come on.
Today's a good day to grab your kids and hang out with them for an hour. Dance, walk, play a sport, or cook a healthy meal. Because just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier.
Can we do it? win.
Know that we can.
We'll ball it up,
Cause we know how to hoop.
we'll mess around,
Cause we know how to play.
we'll drop it down,
Cause we know how to dance.
we'll veg it up,
Bet you night and day.
can we do it?
Search We Can online to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day to keep you and your kids healthy. Remember, that's We Can. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Happy holidays, everybody. This is Dave Koz for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. When you're traveling during the holidays and see someone who's had too much to drink about to get behind the wheel of their car, get the car keys. Your friends will thank you for it because friends don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Will Austin Show here on iHeartRadio. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you hanging on. We appreciate you trying us out. We've got a lot of new listeners, and I am excited. I am ecstatic about it. We've got a bunch of new listeners, people who have never heard of the Will Austin Show, but you know what, saw it as they were cruising around. You're a talk show listener, so you were cruising around listening to talk shows, probably major talk shows, Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh and John Hannity and the like, and said, "Who is this dude?" And you listened for the whole show, and I appreciate it. We really, really do appreciate it. Thank you ever so much. All right, listen. The torture report was released on the Democrat Senate torture report was released on Monday, dogging out the CIA for its activities in enhanced interrogation techniques shortly after the 9/11 bombings that took place in this country that killed over 3,000 Americans. Okay. This is, you know what? If this ain't distractions for distraction's sake, I don't know what it is. This is not deflection and distraction. I don't know what it is. I don't know. You know, I mentioned today when I was talking about this on the Blog Talk Radio show, is what this really is, and one of my guilty pleasures is the show Scandal on ABC, that did not get nominated for a Golden Globe, by the way. It simply got snubbed, I think, because I think it's one of the better written shows on television. If you're looking for a show that twists and turns and meets all the check boxes for modern liberal leftist television, we're talking about, it has the strong black woman check. It's got the homosexual male check, who's married check, who kisses other men on screen check. It's got the Republican who is a Jeb Bush sort of liberal Republican check, who's got jungle fever check. It had the vice president who was supposed to be the conservative Christian, who was nothing more than a hypocrite, murderer. Right? He had all that. So it seemed to be perfect for television, perfect for ABC. All the stereotypes in place. But there's an element on that show called B613, which is a CIA sort of organization that runs around doing nefarious stuff in the name of the Republic. Completely apolitical, completely devoid of any executive oversight. I hope B613 exists in real life, because they are the adults that don't care what moron or set of morons that the people elect. Their main drive, their main purpose is to make the Republic safe, to do whatever they have to do. And I'm all for, frankly, the CIA doing whatever they have to do to at least have me be in this bubble of safety, this hallucination of safety, because they do things to protect us that we don't first want to know about, we don't want to see, we don't have the stomach. If we knew about, we don't have the stomach for it, we don't have the psyche for it, and we damn sure don't have the guts to do it. I mean, we live in a very, and somebody said the most dangerous thing about the world is the most dangerous place in the world is the world. That we live in a very, very dangerous world. That there are people who exist on this planet who don't want us to exist, who don't want me or you or your parents or your kids to live. That hate you because you exist. They don't hate you because of your government. Please don't fall into that trap. Those of them who hate us don't hate us because of our government. They hate us because in their book, in their holy book, we are the infidels. It is that simple. It is not because of George Bush. It is not because of Bill Clinton. It's not even because of Barack Obama. Barack Obama isn't. You know what? If you think that Barack Obama is making our reputation with the radical Islamic world better, you're absolutely incorrect. Barack Obama is having zero effect on our relationship with the what we call the Islamic world, the radical Islamic world, because this relationship was never going to be a relationship that was going to go well. Because when you have one part of the relationship perfectly okay with killing the other part of the relationship, it's never going to work. It's like that stupid ass bumper sticker that says coexist. Yeah, that would be possible if the star and the crescent wasn't trying to kill off the rest of them. That might work. But because the star and the crescent sees the others as infidels, that they only have the choice of dying, being enslaved, or paying for some illusion of freedom, then coexistence is not possible. Coexistence is not what radical Islam wants. It's not what the Quran says to do. It's not what the teachings of the Hadith say to do. It's not what they say to do. Coexist. I mean, if you live in this sort of Barbie, Malibu Barbie and Ken Malibu home sort of life, where you think that if you just do what you do and leave people alone, some of my libertarian friends have this illusion that can actually be reality, that you could just leave people alone around the planet, and guess what? You would be okay. They would leave you alone too. It's that same nonsense they used to tell me about bees and wasps. If you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Except with one problem. They don't. Except for one problem. They don't. They never leave you alone. Wasps don't leave you alone. Radical Islam is not concerned about coexisting, and can only be dealt with, unfortunately, in the most harsh of ways. And they exist and they thrive because what they understand is that the American public, you and I, do not have the stomach. We don't have the guts, the intestinal fortitude to do what needs to be done in the way that they understand. Which is why we are horrified by these beheadings. We are horrified and horror-stricken and terrorized by these beheadings that show up on YouTube. And that's why it's easy for us to say, well, maybe if we just, comma, they'll stop. Well, that's what they were hoping all along, that because we don't have the stomach for it, because we don't say, let's go get the bastards and wipe them off the face of the earth, which is not our battle cry anymore. It is, why don't we, like Dianne Feinstein said, why don't we apologize to Al Qaeda? We should apologize to them. Seriously? Apologize for them, for finding them and not killing them, not chopping their heads off, not setting them on fire from the inside, not shooting them square in the forehead. We should apologize for them because some of them felt like they may drown and they didn't. That some people got waterboarded and they were very, very uncomfortable and they were very, very scared. You know what I used to do, and I haven't done it in a couple of years. I didn't do it this year, and I didn't do it this year because I didn't have a heart for it, and I didn't do it. Well, wait a minute. I did do it this year. I just didn't listen to it. My 9/11 tribute show, and we'll play that here on iHeartRadio when it's appropriate. Has a clip of a 911 operator talking to someone who was in one of the towers. Now, the 911 operators knew that above the crash, above where the planes went in, those people were trapped. They were never getting out. The only way they were going to leave that building, because no one could have thought that the building would collapse. That they were, at some point, they were going to die of asphyxiation, or they were going to hop out of a window and fall to their death 109, 110 stories. And that was the only way they were leaving. So they were told to stay on the phone with them as long as they could. And this one operator's on this phone with a guy, and he was like, "There's a bunch of us in this room." And she's trying to tell them to stay calm, that the firefighters are coming for them, when she knew that they weren't. And in the clip, you can actually hear when the tower gives way. And those people went crashing down to their death. Now, you think they were afraid? You think they were scared? Do you think that they were praying for their lives? That they hadn't done anything? That those people in those towers hadn't done anything that day but go to work. That's all they had done that day, was go to work. Did we get an apology from Al Qaeda? Did we get an apology from Hamas? No, just the opposite. They danced in the streets. They had a party. They danced in the streets over the dead Americans that lay there in New York. And Dianne Feinstein wants the CIA and the American government to apologize to Al Qaeda because we made some of their folks uncomfortable. And the president says, "Well, that's not who we are. That's not who we are." Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you look at World War I, when we got involved, the idea was to go win and be as ruthless as you could to win. In World War II ended with the dropping of an atomic weapon that had never been used. That was one of the most destructive weapons in the history of weaponry. It certainly is. In the Vietnam conflict, we dropped Agent Orange on hundreds of square miles of jungle. We use this stuff made for us by the chemical company Dow, the people who brought you Janitor in a Drum, which is jellied gasoline called napalm for taking out forestation. And being and sprayed over villages and sprayed over streams where people had hopped in to get away from it, and it vaporized the stream and the person. Yeah, it's us. That's who we are. To do whatever you have to do to end the conflict in a way that's positive to you as quickly as possible. That's what we do. So if somebody had to feel like they were going to die when they really weren't going to, in order to get information that saved thousands of American lives, then that's who we are. And I think that some of us have to be good with that. One of the funniest things I saw all this week was the head of the CIA being interviewed by Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show. That dude looked like Command from B613 from the show Scandal, talking to this this bobblehead on television, which is really funny. You know what? In most of the shots they had Savannah Guthrie on one side and the head of the CIA on the other. By the end of the interview, they had a two shot on the Today Show, and sitting next to her was Matt Lauer. I guess for support, because this guy, the head of the CIA, was ripping Savannah a new one, made her look, and it had to make her feel like she was an idiot. I almost felt bad for her. I was that close to feeling bad for her. But I mean, but her level of naivety and being uninformed and really understanding what it takes, obviously what it takes to protect the Republic in a real way, in an adult way. The people who actually give her the ability and the freedom to get on the television every morning and talk the nonsense that they talk, to regurgitate the bull crap that they regurgitate. Done by people that she can't, who have to do things that she can't even, in her small New York way, can't even imagine. She would never sleep again if she had any idea of what some of these people have to do on a daily basis to keep her ass safe in a city like New York. She would never sleep again. So there you go. Listen, if you've got feedback on what we're doing here, send us an email at WLS860@gmail.com. WLS860@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Listen, something else that we have going on right now, we have our Friday Feed for All 5 for 40 campaign. What we need is, unlike the other shows you listen to on iHeartRadio, like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and the like, who have sponsors who pay the freight. We don't have sponsors who pay the freight. We're one of the few, if not the only, show here on iHeartRadio that is listener sponsored, and from time to time we ask you to join us in our fundraising efforts. If you could go to WillieLawsonShow.com and help us with our 5 for Friday campaign. We're looking to make sure that our internet provider that provides for remotes for us is paid, and you can click on the donate button right there. It's the top of the website. It says help today with our 40 for $5 Friday. And we're just asking for $5. We're looking for 40 people that will provide $5 for us, so we can continue this, and we can continue this everywhere. Or you can scroll down to the subscribe button, and there are a number of options, 4 options there, 5 options to help us every month. A bronze option for $10 monthly, a silver option for $20 monthly, a gold option for $50 monthly, a platinum option for $100 monthly, to help this show and what we do continue to move forward, because we have things to do. We are headed towards CPAC in Washington in 2015 and 16, and on to Cleveland, Ohio for the Republican National Convention in 2016. So we're going to need your help, like we needed between now and midnight tonight. So if you want to help with our 40 for $5 Friday, go to WillieLawsonShow.com and click on the donate button right there at the top of the page. the yellow PayPal donate button. We would appreciate it. Thank you ever so much for coming to the Will Austin Show on iHeartRadio today. We love you and we appreciate you. We're looking forward to doing a lot more here on iHeartRadio. And until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, take care of yourself.